I've been a fan of the NBA for the past 5 years. I've seen a lot since then. Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, Dirk Nowitzki, Vince Carter, and other notable players retired. Kawhi signed with 2 teams, KD signed with 2 teams, LeBron went to the Lakers, the Warriors won 2 championships, the Raptors won their first ever championship, Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson suffered season-ending injuries, John Wall's career declined, Isaiah Thomas was out of the league, and there's a lot of other things which can be made into a separate video itself. But never did I expect, 5 years later, to see a possible Phoenix Suns versus Atlanta Hawks NBA Finals matchup. Never. What's up guys, it's Krishna and welcome back to the channel. Before we begin talking about the Hawks versus Bucks side of things, let's talk about the Phoenix Suns. 5 years ago, in the 2015-2016 NBA season, Phoenix Suns were the second worst team in the Western Conference, and Devin Booker was a rookie. But they continued to be bad for the next 4 seasons. This year, when Phoenix added Chris Paul to the team and Devin Booker had developed into a star, the Phoenix Suns went from being the second worst team in the West to being the second best team in the West. It took them just 5 years, possibly one of the quickest rebuilds of all time. But those 5 years felt like a long time. Devin Booker had turned into a star not this season, not the season prior, not the season before that too, but his second NBA season. That was the year when Booker dropped 71 points versus the Celtics on the road. But the Suns lost, because like I said earlier, they were bad. That bad that their best player had to drop 71 points for the game to be at least close.
Bruh.
Most points in the league since Kobe's 81 in 2000.
Devin Booker can be a number 1 on a championship team without a doubt, but this season Chris Paul is. This is CP3's year. LeBron's not in the playoffs to stop him, nor is Steph Curry. Kevin Durant is eliminated in the opposite conference, and the San Antonio Spurs dynasty is finally over after 300 years. But Kawhi is still here. Well, now he's injured. The Phoenix Suns have a 3-2 lead in the Western Conference Finals versus the LA Clippers. Coming back from a 3-2 deficit is rare, although that happened 5 times in the past 5 years. Compared to all time, it's rare. And the Clippers are trying to do it without their best player for the first 5 games of the series. The only way LA comes back in the series if they win the next 2 games, with an 85% Kawhi. Now, 85% Kawhi is still a beast out there, but winning 3 games in a row against a better team with a much better chemistry is going to be really tough. If the Clippers come back from being down 3-2, it's going to take a special book in the history books. That's just an if though. You see, ifs don't always happen. Actually, ifs never happen. That's why they're ifs. But if this if were to happen, then this if will be a special if. Sorry I got you confused there. But let's get back to the Phoenix Suns. So we assume that the Suns beat the Clippers this series and make it to the NBA Finals. But who do they go up against? Let's find out. The Bucks are currently up 2-1 in the Eastern Conference Finals, but it's possible for the Atlanta Hawks to make a comeback. So to see which team is going to win the series, I've analyzed the first 3 games of the series, and out of my analyzation, I've created 6 categories: offense, defense, rebounding, efficiency, team chemistry, and closing out games. And these are all worth 1 point. Whichever team gets more points in the end will be the winner, and according to me and me only, will make the NBA Finals. It's either the Bucks or the Hawks. Let's start with offense. The points per game and offensive rating is higher of the Bucks than the Hawks in these 3 games so far. In any other offensive stats for the series besides efficiency, the Bucks are higher than the Hawks in all of them, so they can be considered the better team offensively here. The Bucks get 1 point. Defense is a close one where the Bucks have the better defensive rating, but the Hawks are a better shot blocking team with the help of Clint Capella and John Collins. The Bucks get more steals, but not by much. In the playoffs so far, the Hawks have proven to be a better team defensively as well, with a higher defensive rating than the Bucks in the 15 games so far. So since this is so close of a battle, I gotta give half points to both teams. Rebounding is very easy, and it goes to the Bucks since they're a taller and more better rebounding team by far, with the likes of Giannis and PJ Tucker grabbing the boards and Chris Middleton helping as well. Another point to the Bucks. So we're halfway done, and the score is 2.5 to 0.5, going the Bucks' way. Moving on to efficiency. The Bucks have a slightly better field goal and 3-point percentage, but the Hawks are much better at the free throw line with a free throw percentage of 75% to 64%. That's a plus 11%. Considering the fact that the 2 teams have taken identical number of free throws so far, and the fact that the Hawks have better and more reliable shooters in Trae Young, DeAndre Hunter, and Danilo Gallinari, This point goes to the Atlanta Hawks. In late game situations, teams foul a lot, and it matters if you're able to knock down these key free throws. Team chemistry. There isn't really a stat for this, but let's use assists and some game footage as our bystanders. The Hawks have recorded 52 assists so far in the series versus the Bucks, whereas the Bucks have recorded 83. This stat simply shows which team is passing and moving the ball around more, meaning they trust their teammates a lot more ultimately, which means that they have the better chemistry, right? Well, kind of. When we take a good look at the game footage, we see many times when a player on the Bucks is driving to the paint, he just throws the ball, hoping for teammates to catch it. And most of the times, the Bucks players do catch it and shoot the ball, or take two dribbles and drive to the rim and score. That's an assist. There have been many possessions I've seen this happening, even against the Nets in the second round. On the other hand, the Hawks look more organized on the offensive end, and that doesn't necessarily mean they have to be passing a lot. It just means that every player on the Hawks for Atlanta is on the same page and knows what the floor general, usually Trae Young, is going to do, and they do their tasks which are given to them. So this again comes out to be a tie since the Bucks are getting more assists, but the Hawks are more organized during the games. The score is now 3-2 going the Bucks' way. Now we come to the last topic of the video, and that is which team is better at closing out games. With a team being down or up by 5 minutes left in the game, the Atlanta Hawks have the best net rating within that span of time, but the Bucks are second. Let's look at which team has better closers. For the Hawks, it could basically be anybody in their starting five, which consists of John Collins, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Kevin Huerter, Danilo Gallinari, and most importantly, Trae Young. For the Bucks, Giannis is not going to be here since every time he touches the ball in the last 2 minutes of the game, teams foul him because they know he's a poor free throw shooter, so he's not a liability. They have Chris Middleton, who has proven himself to be a clutch scorer multiple times, the recent one being Game 3 versus the Hawks when he single-handedly beat them in the last 3 minutes of the game. Jrue Holiday can also hit timely shots, so he's on here as well. That's pretty much it. Just 2 for the Bucks and all 5 players for the Hawks. 5 is greater than 2, which means that the Hawks have a better chance to win close games, like they did in Game 1, but could not do so in Game 3. And like I said earlier, they have the highest net rating in the league for the last 5 minutes of the game. So that's why this point goes to the Hawks, which means the score is tied. So any team can win the series. But that's fine, because now we come to the part of the video which you all have been waiting for, without knowing you're waiting for it. I'll tell you the team I think is going to make the NBA Finals from the East. So here we go. The team that will make the NBA Finals from the Eastern Conference, in my opinion, that's important because lots of people just start to hate, is going to be the Milwaukee Bucks. Yep. The Bucks are already leading in the series, but that doesn't matter to me much. What matters is that after Trae Young sprained his ankle on the referee's foot, he wasn't the same. I gotta give him props for coming back in the game and trying to get his team the victory, but with Trae Young not being fully healthy, the Hawks don't have a huge chance of winning the series considering they're already losing. But guys, comment down your prediction and like the video if you enjoyed. We're on the road to 200 subscribers by the end of July, so subscribe to help the community grow. And as always, until next time, peace.